what you want, do what you can. This is the topic of today's video. It's basically a perspective change that's really helped me in terms of overcoming chronic pains and injuries, but also for loads of other things in life as well, from business to relationships and lots of other things. And I have examples from clients as well saying the same thing. And the purpose of this then is that you can get the same benefit from it once you fully understand it. So I'll go through a little bit of an intro on it here, coming from the lens of chronic pains and injuries, and we're going to stick with that. But as I said, once you fully understand it there, you can use it in other domains in your life then too. I'll go through a few of the kind of pitfalls around it, around not having this perspective with injury, and I'll go into what that means. Like, if you can't do what you want, do what you can, and where it's coming from, because it's coming from a Stoic book called The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. So great book. That's where a lot of this is coming from. And I'll finish, just like the other videos, with 3 takeaways then that you can action and implement in your life in a structured way. So starting off, coming from chronic pains and injuries, when we have chronic pains and injuries, perspective is going to be huge, okay? Like, even if you don't have any injuries now, more than likely if you're playing some sort of sport, you're going to get them at some stage. So that's why this is important. We want to try and arm ourselves with good perspective so that we're being proactive before it happens. I was using a war analogy here in the newsletter. This is all from a weekly newsletter. It's in a lot more detail in the newsletter. You can click it down in the description. But I was just using a war analogy, like, we want to arm ourselves with armor going into that war. You don't want to just be wearing a pair of shin guards and off you go running into war, thinking you're going to be fine. Bad things are going to happen. You're going to get injured. You're going to have chronic pains, probably at some point in your life. We want to be ready for them. Okay, and then even if we do have all the armor on and an arrow gets through somewhere, we want to be prepared for that too. We want to be prepared for all eventualities so that we're not going to be shocked by it. Because that's what really throws us off. It's when we're not prepared for something. Quick example: if I said, "Come on over to my apartment here, but when you get here, I'm going to be standing inside the door and jump out and scare you." When that happens, then are you going to be scared? Are you going to be, so taken aback by this and not prepared? No. Because I've told you what's going to happen. You're prepared for it. It's the same with this. Like, we want to start building and cultivating this better perspective, and then once you do get injured, you're ready for it. Like, even if like I just used the example of an ACL injury, even if something like that happens, you're going to be prepared for it, and you'll know the route to navigate through it and come out of it better than you came into it, which you'll see down below. Like what usually happens with injuries. Look, I suppose I'm doing this because I've had my fair share of chronic pains and injuries and had to give up things I love to do. So I've had, 10 years on off chronic pains and injuries. In terms of big injuries, like amazing new fracture, I go on about that. Like, broke my leg, tore my ankle ligaments both sides, had to get surgery. 2 meniscus tears in my knees now from jiu-jitsu and all these other things. So the perspective massively helped me. But before I had this, what happens? We kind of just feel sorry for ourselves in a way. Other people will give us pity as well, and everyone will be like, "Oh yeah, if you have a knee injury, oh yeah, my knee was fucked too, and isn't this terrible, and this will happen," and just a bit of a pity party, to be honest. And it goes from there. Like, you can kind of drift off your sport, then you can lose motivation. I've been there, and just you don't want to do anything, and then the progress that you've got, that's starting to stall and then go backwards. So your progress is going away, your motivation is going away. You can just end up doing nothing really, and then you're not in a great spot, So that's kind of what happens. So we want to change that now and take a more empowering perspective. That's what this is. Like, I want to empower people, tools to change their body, mindset to try and help them change their life. So this is where it's coming from. We're going to start using a more empowering perspective. And it's coming from Stoicism. Okay, so that if you can't do what you want, do what you can. It's the same as the obstacle is the way. They mean the same thing, which I'll get to in a second. But I think if you can't do what you want, do what you can. It's much easier to understand for people that don't really follow any of the Stoicism. But why the Stoicism really resonated with me and with most people is because it focuses on what's in your control and tries to get you not to worry about things outside of your control, because it's pointless. You can't control it. What's the point worrying about it? That's just stress and anxiety. That's never going to change. So it's like focusing the lens on what are the things in my sphere of control here in front of me. I'm going to focus on them because they're the things I actually can change. Okay, so that's the starting point of this, coming from The Obstacle is the Way from Ryan Holiday, a great book. Apparently it was passed around the NFL on a team that won it one year, and it was being passed around the dressing room. And there's a big story about that, which you'll see in the newsletter. I don't follow NFL, can't remember the team's name, but there you go. It's gone worldwide, that book, because of the great perspective change that it has. So we'll start going into it now. Like, it's coming from the Stoicism, but what does that actually mean? Like, the obstacle is the way. The first time I looked at that, I was like, I don't even know what that means. So it basically just means that the obstacle that you face, we're using chronic pain and injury, could be business issues, relationship, whatever, that obstacle in front of you is actually the way forward, but you just don't realize it. So in that obstacle is actually going to be lots of opportunities and places for you to grow and come out better than you came into it, but you just can't see it at the moment because all you see is the obstacle. So that's really what it means. It's like the obstacle is the way, is an opportunity to get better, but you can't see it at the moment because you're just so fixated on the negative aspect of it, like hence it being an obstacle, rather than you calling it an opportunity, which it can be. Okay, so I dove into that now and a bit more in the newsletter, but yeah, that's pretty much it. We won't kind of drag that out too much for the video, but yeah, that's basically it. That we just need to accept and realize that every obstacle has an opportunity within it, and this isn't like just making up some false beliefs about it. Like, this is the truth. We're going to go through some examples. Like, every bad situation that can happen, there is going to be some elements of opportunity within it, no matter what it is. Okay, so that's the first step, is just understand that. And yeah, going on from that, like, we're going a bit more kind of maybe philosophical and into beliefs and different things, but the point I have here, which is really helpful to me too, is that there is no endedness, there's only possibilities. Okay, so there is no endedness, there's only possibilities. Same for everything in life. Like, if you get an injury, if your business fails, or if someone breaks up with you or whatever, that's not the end. There is no end. Until we die, you could say, but like, there is no end. We just perceive it to be an end. Like, oh, I'm injured, that's the end of my career. You don't know that. Like, you're thinking that now, but that's not the end. There's different possibilities for you to move forward, do different things. Same in business, same in relationships. So we do get stuck in that endedness. Like, we think, oh, X has happened, that's it, done now. But that's actually not the case. There is no endedness, it's only possibilities. That's really it. Like, that's really helped me for lots of things, that like any outcome I think is the end. It's not the end, because that outcome has another outcome, has another outcome, has another outcome, it's just like possibilities that will branch out into tens, hundreds, thousands of different paths that you could take. And they're all there, but you just can't see them. So that's the thing to really understand, is just because you're so laser focused, where attention goes, energy flows, you're just like laser focused on the bad path of like, oh, got injured, have to stop my sport, and I'm never going to be the same, and I'm fucked, and blah, blah, blah. You're just focused on that path there, because that's kind of society maybe has led us towards that one. There's loads of other paths and opportunities in other directions. And once we start to step back, get the better perspective like we're doing now, you can start to see them. And then we can start to take those paths. But the first step is actually just recognizing that they're there. And that's it. We're just so laser focused, and I've been there on the bad part of it, but there is no endedness. That's not the only way. There's loads of possibilities out in other directions. Okay? So yeah, that's pretty much it. Look, as I'm saying near the end of that, every obstacle has some inherent opportunities within it. And that's really what's at the heart of this. And once you know that, it's brought me peace, and it's also made me feel powerful, because I know now, no matter what happens, even those meniscus tears, that was only this week, I've had issues with my knees going back from jiu-jitsu and different things, so got an MRI scan, 2 meniscus tear in both knees, not good, not the worst either, look, but again, obviously I'll be upset about it, and I was yesterday or whatever, but now when I get back the better perspective, I know there's loads of opportunity in this for me, okay, so it gives me peace, gives me that sense that I'm powerful, and because I know this isn't the only way, there's lots of other opportunities going forward, so I know that I can come out of these injuries and different bad situations in my life, I can come out of them better than I went into them. So we'll start running into some practical examples now, because look, that's kind of open the philosophy and the strategy and the theory around it. We'll drop it into some practical realities for you. Take an ACL injury. Okay, so ACL injury, what is it, 6 to 12 months, we'll say, recovery. We usually see the bad path of the, can't do my sport, can't play five-a-side with the lads, even if I can't really do anything, can't do leg day in the gym, all those things that we can't do. But again, that's only the one path. If we zoomed out, if you can't do what you want, do what you can. What's the other possibilities here? Okay, we're seeing the obstacle. What's the way? What's the opportunity that we can, get out of this obstacle? Loads of them. First one, you could learn a lot more now about your body during the rehab process to try and prevent these things happening in the future, because most of us don't know how the body works. So that's one thing. Second thing, you can't do leg day now. What do you have a lot more time for? Upper body. You have a lot more energy and time now to push on your upper body training towards any goals you have. Other things now, because you're not playing your sport, you have a lot more time. Okay, so here's time for that passion project that you've never time to get around to because you're so busy with your sport. Now you got time. That, moving on to another one, like family, friends, I'm always so busy between working and training in the evening for my sport, I don't have time to see them. Now you have time, to get those connections back, whether it's friends, family, loved ones, whatever. You can just keep going with it. There's so much opportunities of things that you can do now that wouldn't have been possible if you were still playing your sport and you weren't injured. Do you see what I mean? So just there's like 5 different things, or 4 or 5 different things already, just off the top of my head, of things that you have the opportunity to do now that you couldn't before. Okay, so moving on from that, then I'll go through my example here. Like this was my last big injury now was Maisonneuve fracture. So it's when you break your leg at the same time as tearing your ankle ligaments. So that was great fun. It was on holidays. I was interrailing. I'll tell this story now for a couple of minutes. Not too long, 10 minutes left, but long story short, I fell when I was on holidays, broke my left leg, tore my ankle ligaments both sides of it as well, had to get surgery on it. So yeah, for me that was jiu-jitsu gone, that's my sport. Lower body day in the gym was gone as well. I was chasing squat goals and stuff, so them 2 things are gone. And yeah, the first 2 or 3 days, obviously, look, I was crying, I was upset and all this other stuff because I love training. But then this was the first time where I was like, I'm reading so much about this Stoicism, read the obstacle is the way, I understand it, makes sense. Now it's time to actually do it. Now it's time to implement it, okay? Because even you watching this video, you can watch it 10 times. If you're not going to start implementing it, even in little things in your life, you're not going to see the power of it. So like even the Stoic quotes helped me here of like, Marcus Aurelius saying, stop talking about what a good man is, be one. Now is the time. The other quote I love is from Epictetus, that circumstances don't make the man, they only reveal him to himself. I think that's an amazing quote because it's so true. The circumstance that's happening, that hasn't made you. All it's done is reveal who you are now in terms of your mindset, your perspective, etc. Do you see what I mean? So that's why I'm saying if you prepare proactively, when the circumstance does happen, you'll reveal your better perspective on life. Whereas if you don't, it's going to reveal the perspective that isn't very empowering for you in that moment. So yeah, that's when I started doing the stuff I'm talking about there. Right, I can't do jiu-jitsu, can't do leg day, they're gone. If you can't do what you want, do what you can. What can I do? A lot more time for upper body training. I was working towards like 1-arm chin-up and handstand push-up, and I just emailed my trainer, leg broken, ankle ligaments torn, can't do leg day, let's do a program of full upper body. And he's like, fuck yeah, let's do it, man, Jesus. And that's what I did. Like day 3, I had the pull-up bar out here working on it. So, and then I got the handstand push-up like 7 months later or something like that, and I wouldn't have got it if I did drop off. Maybe I would never have got it because, like I'm saying, you can drop off completely and really stall and have no motivation to get back to it. So got the handstand push-up, and I'm very close now to getting a 1-arm chin-up as well. In big part because I did what I could back when I got that injury, and I didn't just stop everything completely and go way backwards. So did the upper body stuff. Saw this as a chance to test all my knowledge on the human body, everything I've learned so far. Now let's rehab my own injury, a serious injury now. And that's what I did. I came back in 7 or 8 weeks. I was back in jiu-jitsu in the gym when I was told it could take 5 or 6 months, like a half the timeline, more than half the timeline. And then, as well as that, it's just showing you guys, not just, I wanted to prove to myself as well that look, how adaptable the human body is, like all the things I'm talking about, how adaptable we are, the power of playing the long game, educating yourself, chasing the small gains, how that'll add up to the big gains over time, like all that stuff that I'm preaching about. I wanted to prove it to myself, but I wanted to prove it to you guys as well, that you can do all these things as well. So, just like I'm saying, I came out of that injury better than I came into it because got the upper body gains that I wouldn't have got if I wasn't injured. Got to put all my skills and knowledge to the test, really helped my confidence. in terms of promoting my coaching and helping people as well. And then the last thing, just proving all the things I talk about, and being able to put that out to you guys and show you, like, if you're following me over 3 years ago, you would have seen the process. I was documenting it every day. There was nothing special about it. Like, the people that watch me every day would have been like, oh yeah, I see how he did that. I see how I could do that. So that was it. Like, that was, once I did that, again, such peace and power knowing, holy shit, I've come out of this really bad situation better than I've come into it. Like, one of the worst injuries I've ever had, come out of it so much better. If you want to think broader scale, my 10 years of chronic pains and injuries that have led me to getting obsessed with the body, understand how it's working, to try and get myself back, and that's now led to me being a coach helping others. It's led to this video. That's really, if you can't do what you can on a bigger scale. Like, the obstacle is the way. That obstacle and my physical freedom being taken away from me, probably one of the worst things that's happened in my life, but look at it now. It became the way, didn't it? It became the way to me getting back my physical freedom and all the way to here. So if I didn't have that obstacle, I wouldn't have found my way. Do you see what I mean? So, it's a really powerful perspective once you fully understand it. Better start wrapping this up now. So 3 actionable takeaways then at the end, okay, just to get a bit of structure to it. So first one, you need to flip your perspective. That's the very first part. Like I said, if you can't see the other opportunities out here, you're not going to be able to action them. So in every obstacle, there is an opportunity. There is no endedness, only possibilities, just like I was saying there. And we need to take ownership of the lens that you view the situation from. Instead of focusing on the bad, we need to start focusing now on the other opportunities. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. If you're focusing on the bad, that's going to be your reality. If you focus on these, that'll be your reality. Second one, identify the best way to move forward. So just like I was saying, you have a lot more spare time now, so if you want to pursue rehab to a deeper level, like understand your body a lot more, prevent in the future, could be other goals, could be interests, like could be progress your career even more, take on more in your career, could be family stuff, relationships, whatever it is. But the main thing is you can make progress now in things that wouldn't have been possible if this bad situation didn't happen. Third thing then, live it to know its power. Just like I was saying at the end of my own example, like reading this in the newsletter isn't enough, listening to me isn't enough. You need to live it yourself. Once you do it once, you'll be like, holy shit, I can see the power of that now. I'm going to start to do it loads of other things in your life. So yeah, you need to live it to see the difference. Now you're armed with this perspective for any life situation. The obstacle has become the way. There you go. That's what the Stoics were on about. If you think, why is this stuff survive over 2,000 years later? One reason, because it fucking works. That's it. It wouldn't have came through otherwise. So yeah, on the newsletter then I had a few other examples from clients. Like Anna is someone who really benefited from that in her review, getting back her physical freedom to be doing jiu-jitsu. She wrote exactly that. Like, where is it? Sorry. She said, like, one of my favorite quotes of Mark's, of which there are many. They're not my quotes, but I've taken them from other people and changed them a bit. But she said, yeah, if you can't do what you want, do what you can. I think of that quote very regularly, how it can be applied to our daily outlook, not just in the physical aspect, but in the mental too. And then she's talking about small gains as well. Mark's approach with small gains apply to everything in life. And he's helped me with that small gains lens to view my life, which I'll always be grateful for. So yeah, you see, I've just changed her lens. She's been looking at, my body's fucked and blah, blah, blah. Helped her with the perspective of, can't do what you want, do what you can. She can see the other possibilities now, and the perspective is changed. So, and yeah, there's a good few examples actually there from clients. People really like that perspective. So you can see all them in the newsletter there if you want more information, or even to read the full newsletter and get all the details on it. We'll wrap it up there. The camera's going to go. Hopefully that's useful. It's something that's really helped me. If you can't do what you want, do what you can. You can apply it to getting your physical freedom back with chronic pains and injuries, but mindset in life, any domain of life, it can be utilized. So hopefully it serves you as well as it serves me. Any questions on it, you can drop it in the comments here or message me on Instagram and I'll get back to you. We'll see you in the next one.